Hi, Mark Gilbert here. In this video, we're going to explore the question, is the universe for you or against you? Ultimately, I believe that the universe is for all of our greatest good, although we don't often see that. So I hope that this video will help you orient towards that perspective. A little bit later on, we'll give you some tips on how to shift your perspective to see the good in the universe around you. Now, to help us grow this YouTube channel, I would certainly appreciate it if you like the videos we're doing here to hit that subscribe button, the like button, and certainly leave a comment. I do read all of the comments. Your doing those actions helps me to grow this channel and reach more people through the algorithms of YouTube. So thank you for doing that. Get on to the question now. Is the universe for you or against you? Well, I'll cut to the chase and give you the answer. From my perspective and from New Thought and Science of Mind, we say that ultimately the universe is for our greatest good. However, what we choose to see is what we choose to experience. So if we look out at the life and universe and we feel like that we are victim to external circumstances, we are like at the bottom of a hill and stuff is rolling downhill towards us and just overwhelming us, then that's what we're going to experience more of. On the other hand, if we look out at the universe and we see that it is a great gift, a great experience for us to move through in this human experience on our spiritual path, then we're going to experience more good. So then the question becomes, which do you see? Do you expect and see more negative things happening to you, more bad happening to you, or do you see the gifts of life and goodness flowing into your life? You know, bad things are going to happen to us. And the key is when those things happen, how are we going to react to them? You know, we can dwell on those things, and when we dwell on them, it tends to take us into seeing more of the negative. However, we can also see negative experiences, which are just going to naturally occur in our life, as an opportunity to learn and to grow and to move through them onto the other side where we can recognize that they've given us gifts. So the fact is, we all have positive experiences and negative experiences, and the key is for us to determine when we have a negative experience, how are we going to reorient? How are we going to learn and move through that so that we can see the good? You know, ultimately, we live on sort of a sliding scale. The answer to the question, are we always going to have, you know, is the universe for us or against us? It seems like sometimes it's against us and sometimes it's for us. But the idea is that even though we experience things along a sliding scale, very few of us are down on that very negative end where we feel like everything that happens to us is negative, and very few of us are up on that 100% positive, it's always goodness in every aspect of my life. Most of us live somewhere in the middle, in between the polar opposites of those questions answers. It's an opportunity for us to reflect that we can shift ourselves up the sliding scale, less from the negative, more to the positive. And the idea is that by shifting how we look at our life and our experiences and having an expectancy, and this is the key point, having an expectancy that good is always coming to us is going to shift our perspective up the sliding scale to see more of the good in our life. So the question now becomes, if you're looking out at your life and all the experiences that are going on around you, what are you choosing to see with what's currently happening in your life? Are you currently dwelling on the negative and creating more of that ultimately? Or are you looking at it that things may have negative impacts at the moment, but they can ultimately give me gifts, and noticing all the goodness that's going on in your life? So let's get to some keys on how we can shift our perspective to see more of the good in our life each day. So let's look at 3 key suggestions that can help you move towards orienting your perspective to seeing that the universe is for you. The first tip I want to offer you is to spend time each day having gratitude for life and seeing the goodness all around you. The more you can build up that muscle of seeing goodness in life, the more it's going to be strong in your daily experiences. How can you do this? Well, if you use affirmations, have an affirmation such as, I see the goodness in my life today, or words to that effect, that are claiming that right now in this moment, for this day, you are seeing goodness all around you. Have some affirmation like that that you can use and repeat to yourself periodically through the day. Secondly, if you're a person who does affirmative prayer, in your affirmative prayers, state realizations and affirmations of seeing the goodness in your life. The third thing you can do is have a gratitude journal. Many people do this at nighttime. They reflect back over their day's events and they say, what was good about today? And they acknowledge that good. And finally, you can just walk around in the day and as you experience things, label them in your mind, if not verbally, that was good, or I enjoyed that, or that was wonderful how that turned out. Things that are continuously reminding you. And the more you can do the spending the time seeing the good in your life or affirming the good and knowing that it's showing up, the more you're going to grow it. The second tip I want to offer you is to very quickly acknowledge the negative. We don't want to be a Pollyanna who doesn't see negative. Yes, there is physical reality and negative things happen to all of us, but we don't want to stay in that space of it. So acknowledge the negative, but turn away from it. See that negative event that occurred in your life, but then look at it and experience it to the fullest. If it's sad or brings on grief, then go where you need to go because it's offering you some gifts for you to learn and to move through. Again, negative experiences are not anything we necessarily enjoy, but they often are seen with time and distance as a gift that has served our life and our individual growth. So hold that wisdom and knowledge in your hand that even when you're moving through, a negative experience, that you are going to come out on the other side of it and learn and grow from it. And the key then is to actually learn from it, to look into the negative experience and say, why did this happen? What is for me to know and do and change in my life based on this experience? Acknowledge that, learn from it, but don't dwell on it. And then as you can, and when you feel appropriate, move on through it and look back on it and recognize the gift that it's given you. Because all negative experiences ultimately do have a gift for orienting us towards the goodness of our life. And the third tip is to take a grander and greater perspective on life. It's easy to look at our lives and just narrow down our perspective to just seeing the positive events that happen to us as an individual or the negative experiences that happen to us as an individual. But what I'd like you to do is sort of visualize taking your perspective upwards to looking at your life and how it fits into a greater and grander universe in a bigger perspective. You live in a vast universe, which when we look at it from a material standpoint, there is this wonder and awe that can overwhelm us with the very nature that all of the events and things that had to line up for the creation of the universe in which we experience, the very nature that we live in a solar system where we are on a planet that is in that Goldilocks area where life can flourish, the very nature that we have around us, all of the environmental conditions, air to breathe, water to drink, people to interact with, all the things that ultimately can fill our needs. When we stop and look at this big perspective of how the universe is really laid out and given us the gifts of this life and this big perspective, and don't focus simply on the negative experiences of our individual life, we can see there's a grand and glorious gift of this whole great and wonderful experience of the universe that we've each been given. When we can take that perspective and see all the goodness, we know that there is a flow going on within the life of the universe that we can tap into. There is a goodness that is there for us because it's already existed by the very nature that you and I were created. We were born onto this planet. We were already moved through these experiences. And yes, we've labeled a lot of them negative and a lot of them positive, but when we see the very nature that we've existed and been given this gift of this time here, and see it from that bigger perspective, it helps us let go of the smallness of the individual negative events that are in our lives. That's not to say those things aren't important and that they don't have value for us and that we certainly had an impact by the negativity, but it puts them in a different perspective when this little event that occurred to me in my life, which I did not enjoy going through, is seen in the light of the vastness of the universe and all of the life and experiences that we're experiencing. If we can put our things in that perspective, that will really reorient us. So again, focus on the good. Take time each day. Don't dwell on the negative. Turn away from it, but learn the lesson that you need and take this larger perspective. And when you do that, you're going to sit back and see that you live in a universe that's ultimately for you and is giving you gifts. And the more you can see that each day, the more you're going to move up that sliding scale and create and see and know that the universe is truly for you. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, be sure to like it, subscribe, and leave me a comment. Till next time.